Good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending this thing that we're doing. I'll wait till everybody comes up here that is wandering around in the Zendo doing important tasks. Hope you're all doing well, doing pretty good here. This evening's Dharma talk is titled Distraction. I was distracted there for a moment. Distraction. It's just another word for, it's a kind of ignorance. It's one of the three poisons. Distracted, something is showing up and we are challenged by it, or we're seduced by it, or we're irritated by it, or it's taking time away from our most important activity, which is satisfying our ego and getting what we want. So something is there that is pulling us away from our basic interest, which is me, and my stuff, my ideas, what I want, what I don't want. We will use the distraction to stop looking at it. It may be as simple in a distraction as going for a walk. You might not want to look exactly at what is happening, so you may use some kind of entertainment, with a name for it, entertainment, going for a walk. I need to take a walk. Oh, you possibly might be avoiding the very thing you need to look at. Don't miss your life. Be aware, the more you sit, the more you will probably, more than likely, become aware of how much you buy into one of those three poisons. Distracting yourself. Whole world is doing that. We do it at an individual level. That applies in this individual part of the illusion. It applies in the objective part of the illusion. Out in that part of the illusion, we have incredible distractions. We have a government right now that is the person runs on constantly distracting you away from what's important. And what is the importance about? Helping people, taking care of each other, community. Distraction because of intense greed, jealousy, avarice, anger, hatred. Distractions are happening everywhere. Something happens over here, and there's a distraction into something else, up to and including warfare. Big distraction, very costly to living beings, happening all the time. The difficulty with that from a personal point of view is it's a landslide. My image that I often use for saying that you can't enter into a landslide that started before you were born, and that is you're catching a snapshot in the middle of it called a weekend in June. You can't just go in and enter that. You could. You may have to. You may, because of your companions, your family, your community, in this case, your Sangha, you may need to work in a way that has to do with walking right into the landslide. Need a handkerchief. Thank you. So, worldwide is pretty obvious. I mean, we can go into detail about that if you like. I don't really want to talk politically. What I'm basically interested in encouraging any of you to do, if you're listening to me, if you give me the so-called time of day, go within. Don't look out here. Out here, you're just going to see a landslide that is challenging, that people sit back in the middle of the landslide and argue about it and fight and blame someone that's only 3 inches back into this end of the landslide, or 42 inches, or 6 days, or 3 weeks, or 10 years back to what they did back here. I'm not saying that's not important. It's very important in order to be able to understand the illusion that we're in, the past and the future. Very important. But the way to work with that is not so much out there, although that could be some of it. Like I was trying to say, you might need to step into that landslide with your protest signs, or with your attitude, or with your voting ballot. Pardon the throat clearing. The one that we find here is also has a similar basis. It's based on greed, based on anger, based on grasping, on rejecting, on turning away. We distract ourselves into all kinds of things. One of the simple distractions that you can witness yourself if you sit on the cushion a lot is to watch the way that you do not want to receive what's in front of you. The wall, the sounds or the silence, the lack of sounds, or your thought patterns. We want to distract ourselves into something else. One of the ways to do that is just start to judge how we're feeling. Add on to ideas about how we're feeling or evaluating how we're doing. Blaming, distraction. We distract ourselves. And by distracting ourselves, we create the impression, the illusion, the simulation that there's somebody who can avoid that, or there's somebody who can get what they want by covering this up, or get everybody to look this way so that you can get what you want. You might even be doing it in your relationships. You know you're deceiving somebody in the relationship, but you just can't quite live up to it, so instead you settle for what you think you can convince them of. I wouldn't know about this if I hadn't done it, and probably I'm still doing it, but it does not matter what you do. If it matters what you do, then you keep trying to fix everything and not be distracted. Trying to fix everything and not be greedy, not be. This is a very primitive form of what is sometimes called ethics or discipline. If you want to live in the 14th century, you can't do that because it's not the 14th century, but you could live by those structures. They feel much safer to ego to just obey, do what you're told, and live up to other people's status orientation. Live up to some kind of a standard of how you should be. Perhaps you need to do that. If you do, I'm certainly not going to argue with you. Go ahead, do that. But if you want to see the truth, simple. How many times have I said this? How do you do that with the body? You can't really look within, but you can hold still. You can just receive everything, and that tends to be right face to face with what appears to be, or what we presume, or what we preconceive is within me. Start to look right at me. You may spend a couple years adding on, inventing things, distracting yourself from the fundamental understanding, which is there isn't anyone there. We distract ourselves into a description of who we are, a judgment of who we are. We continually distract ourselves. Ignorance, passion, aggression, ignorance form. Look at the form so you can see the way ignorance operates. Just watch anything that shows up. Observe. Watch it go by, watch it come back. Just observe. Don't add, subtract, divide. No math. Watch the distraction. You could say be responsible, or be responsible for the distraction. Don't have to not be distracted anymore. Be always really alert and really aware of everything. Possible to do that. It is possible to actually see what is happening yourself. You can see it yourself. You can see the distraction in the world, all the distracting things that go on. Entertainment is one of them. I distract myself every night by watching movies. It's not about not watching movies. It's not about meditating your life away. It's not about doing a million prostrations. Those can be distracting, but what they do is they distract you away from what it is you're attached to by showing you the attachment. Do a couple 100,000 mantras and see where that gets you. Distraction. Every time we open our mouth, it's a distraction. Every time we say anything, we're distracting from the fundamental nature of what this is, sometimes called small talk. We fill up the space, anything to keep from just seeing the complete open dimension in which we are being boiled, sauteed. Potato salad. I'll take some questions, but try to keep them in the area of the distraction or ignoring, deliberate ignoring, and then the distracting kind of ignoring where you use something else as an object. You're not just shutting something out, you're actually distracting yourself, and by that way ignoring what it is that's showing up. Please.
Colonel Bowing, my sitting this morning started off with a lot of anxiety, but when the thought stream started producing like memories, I noticed that I was able to kind of settle into the thoughts and it made the anxiety die down.
Yes.
Is that distraction on the cushion?
It may be some distraction, but as I said, what did I say?
Schnickel Fritz.
I didn't say Schnickel Fritz. I don't speak Spanish. I'm saying you need to be aware of that. Of course, I'm using the word distraction and I'm trying to describe it in terms of the world. Distractions all over the place. We are distracting our governments right now, the whole society, most of the governments, even the so-called humanistic approaches, quite often they're distracting us from seeing, just watching a climate scientist this morning saying that we're worried about the rainforest, but he says all the plankton is dying into the ocean. It's just dying off because it needs 40 degrees temperature and it's got 73, dying. So the very house we live in is being destroyed by what? Distracting us, not looking at it. I heard that they just dismantled all of the things that have been built recently with modern technology to detect temperature changes under the water. And do you remember anything about that? They've dismantled all of that. This particular organization run by a dictator is dismantling all of that. So we don't even know what's happening. We've just, using technology, we've just built feelers into that area so that we can understand what's happening because of the threat of the petroleum industries and political corporations and so on. So the issue with that is well, what's the other distraction I was going to mention? Instead of looking at this planet and taking care of this, our home, we're going into space to go to other balls of dirt. Instead of looking at this one, we want to go in there and destroy those two.
Shui Bowing, are conflicts distractions?
Yes, certainly are. Thank you. Yes, more.
Shui Bowing, how so?
Because we have a desire to have something, have a desire to get rid of something, or have a desire to move away or leave something or be distracted. So if you have any stress or energy or pushing, conflict, or pulling, arguing, something like that, or blaming, that's another kind of conflict. Something is going wrong that you don't like and you're giving someone else responsibility for it. So those are just destroying all of us, destroying everything, destroying the natural balance. That's what you're covering up. It's a natural situation. It's called, the Dzogchen masters called it the great perfection. It's just this. And if you need to move out of just this, you might need to fix lunch. You might need to fix lunch for 50 people. You might need to fundamentally serve others without looking for any credit. Like, I'm doing so much, why doesn't everybody appreciate me? As soon as you go into why don't people appreciate me, appreciate what you're doing, this is called greed. You don't want much. You're willing to look pretty good and give your help and be kind to everybody and be loving and be a helper. But if you don't get credit, then it's transactional. You want some kind of a payoff, more.
Shui Bowing, are our habitual neuroses also distractions?
Yes, But it can be even worse if you try to fix them or correct them because it's a misunderstanding. You're actually believing relative truth that something can be fixed or healed. You cannot heal this. There's nothing wrong with it. The difficulty is thinking there's something wrong and then trying to do something about it. I'm not saying that modern medicine and everything doesn't work with the illusion in that way. It's working with a surface level of the illusion. But the fundamental situation is the hidden causation for all of the distress, all the bad health. More about it. There's plenty of room for questions here. I'm happy to respond to those as best I can. I want to know what it is that I'm going to say. Go ahead.
Shui bowing. So that sounds like the improvement, trying to improve a situation is mostly the distraction. Is that correct?
Improving is a kind of distraction that keeps us from seeing the true nature of what something is. The true nature of what something is completely perfect. And so even if someone gets a cold or gets cancer, that's all dependently risen. There's causes and conditions. I'm not saying that we couldn't interact with that in different ways, but we don't have the machinery to go back in the illusion of time and see what for instance, what your ancestry is. But you're born with certain kinds of disposition. You're not like a completely individual person. I've got to be me kind of thing. You're not separate from anything that's ever happened anywhere. Any kind of occurrence in the illusion, including your health, including the health of your mom and dad, including on back. There's a causation. It's completely untraceable because it's so complicated. Even AI can't figure that one out. More.
Not right now.
This is why it's so important to just be aware. If you want access to all of that I'm referring to, here's where it's at. You don't have to look you don't have to go to the moon. You don't have to look at the feet on an arachnid. You don't have to examine anything. You could. You might be spending all the time doing that. But there's no requirement to look for something. If you do that, there's a good chance that it's going to create more chaos. Depends on the demand, yes.
Shui bowing. So all three poisons are a distraction.
Away from the truth, which is nothing is separate, nothing ever happened. Non-dual. Non-dual is not just no self, no other. It's non-dual. It's thoroughly non-dual. There's no illusion. There's no enlightenment. There's nothing is separate. There's just consciousness only. And it happens to be taking this kind of form. It finds whatever form it wants. It's millions and billions of miles away. It's finding another kind of form, another kind of living form of a certain quality and shape and so on in another place. If we saw them, we might call them aliens. They wouldn't call themselves aliens. They'd call us aliens. Say, how can you possibly look like that? And they're all covered with whatever they're covered with. Flower petals.
Not right now.
Kanjama bowing. So are you saying when we become aware that we're distracted, to just go ahead and be distracted?
It's a little bit extra. If you're aware you're distracted, don't validate it. Because validating it creates a little tiny niche here in the corner of someone who's just validating it. A little credential of, I'm just validating my distraction. No, just receive the distraction. Until you see that actually the name of distraction isn't even it. It's a kind of looking away that needs to be seen beyond the concepts about looking away, beyond the very teachings of passion, aggression, and ignorance. Everything is basically ignorance. It takes the form of aggression, it takes the form of passion, this kind and that kind, and this form. The elaborations there have a little bit of each one of those in it, like a recipe. One might show up a lot more than something else. So this awareness is so important there to just be aware.
Kanjama bowing, is there any instruction to look at what we're distracted from?
I feel that that's situational, that there's any instruction there would be, if you find that you're looking at something and you're looking at some causation, which I think that I'm being distracted from this because it's distasteful, I don't like it, and I'd rather think about something else. Excuse me, I think that will come up just situationally. So there's no instruction to do it other than basic instruction. The way it's talked about here is be aware. So how the different shape that the sideshow takes, or the carnival, or the display of the illusion, just as much as you can observe. And that if your intention is to just observe, then that part of the psychology or the ego that shows up as an observer who wants something, an observer who's trying to see something, all of that will become apparent after a while. It will not be comfortable, because when there's deep discontent with who we are, embarrassment about our dissatisfaction, or embarrassment about our self-deception, try to do anything about that, it just creates another refined form of ego who's gotten rid of something. It's all over the place. If you look at the teachings all over the internet, all these teachers that come on that all know stuff. And I'm not saying they haven't studied for probably lifetime after lifetime, but at least 30, 40, 50 years, have all kinds of certificates and robes and tall hats and everything. I'm not against them. I'm just saying that there's a subtle desire to control a lot of that teaching, and try to get you to function in a certain way because their way is right and your way is misunderstanding. More.
Conjure bowing, and so then when the ego is getting a credential, just observe that.
Yes. It's called, the word it isn't covered completely, but it's like that. It's like humility. It's like you've tried to stop being a certain way. You tried to stop being full of yourself. You tried to be, always concerned about how you look or whether you're successful, and you cannot change that. You're just going to have to be that. So the feeling, feeling like there could be called humility comes with that. You just realize you're basically not so good, doing so good. You're not such a great person. Other people are doing much better than you are. But it's not a negative kind of tramping yourself down because you're so bad. It's not there's other words for that. They're not coming up, but it's not that. It's a workable situation. It could be just that you put others before yourself, not because you're so terrible. There's no big cause in it. You just do that. Be considerate of other people. So it could show up as humility. You have further questions around it, could help us go into it deeper.
Shui Wu bowing, I feel a tendency to blame a particular person, and I feel like that's a distraction to look within, but I'm not sure what that distraction is. Bowing.
See if I understood you.
What is blame the distraction of?
How is blame a distraction? Is that what you mean? Someone's done something and you blame them for it. So that's the distraction there, is distracting yourself into believing and assuming and feeling that that person has actually done this or done that, or caused something in such a way that is causing you to feel a certain way. So it's a distraction from what is actually in front of you, what is actually showing up in the mind stream or in the consciousness, which is not separate. There's no praise and no blame. This is an ancient teaching way before we got here. No one gets credit, no one gets the blame, even though there's all kinds of chaotic things happening that people keep trying to punish or give credit for, and so on. It's just a big illusion. It's not true. More if you have it, it's a good area.
Shui Wu bowing. Every time I talk to my sister, there's a lot of negativity. And I'm wondering if I should even have that conversation because I feel like I'm not looking here.
So without talking to your sister or listening to you chat back and forth, my basic recommendation for you, knowing you, Basically, it's just give her no advice, no correction, just listen to her. And if she asks you a question, like, so Elena, what do you think about this? And then you can say, keep it simple, but then you say, well, it doesn't seem right to me. And then that might be enough to magnetize her. What do you mean? And you don't have to really explain this. You might just say, it just doesn't seem right. So rather than judge her, then it gives her some room to kind of set it up so she's actually giving you permission to go any further with that. Less is better. Just less is better. You love your sister, and just be kind to her and listen to her and realize that if she seems confused or like she's blaming or like she's this way or that way, just realize that she's doing that because she's suffering. It's her way of getting out of her suffering. But she's not ready to hear you tell her that. So you just have to listen to her. And if it gets really difficult where you feel like she's digging yourself down into something, and you might not be sure that you can do that too much longer, just change the subject. That's one way. Did you hear about this or this? You're not manipulating anything. Or you might say, I gotta get going. I have an appointment to go to. And that appointment may be just going over and sit on a chair by yourself. That's not lying.
Shui Wu bowing. I feel like she shamed me. So when someone shames you, what
Keep going.
do you do anything
Just
about
receive
that?
it. We all have shame and feel like we're not doing so well, and we're not good at something, or we blew something up. I know I work with this myself, so I know what that's about. So you just receive it. You just receive it. There isn't anyone here. Shame is another kind of distraction. Use that word again. That the consciousness uses to protect an artificial, simulated person. And then if we can get somebody to blame them for shaming us, there's a whole psychology, and I don't know if it's in therapy or whatever, about scolding people for shaming anyone. Sure, you should shame somebody and make them feel bad about something if they maybe were pretty helpless around whatever happened there. But on the other hand, we're talking about your mind training, or mine, or anyone else's mind training. Just if you can't be responsible for whatever shows up, even though it looked like it was caused by her or him or that, just be the feeling it rises. Just let it be what it is. What is real? I've heard that a million times. What is real? Who you actually are. Can't be threatened. It's not in danger. It can't be threatened. It can't be shamed. But if you're feeling ashamed, this is just ego. The downside of it is feels like crap. The upside is you're getting to look right at it. Take a good whiff. Not comfortable. I've watched myself watch this person deal with that a little bit today. Not a lot. That doesn't happen often. But sometimes I put myself deliberate in a situation where those feelings should come up so I can look at them. Because they're still there. I've not come out. I'm not revived. I'm not eliminated everything. Awakening is not some kind of state of mind. It's just mind. Don't agree? Passion. Don't disagree? Aggression. And don't look away. Realize your true nature, which is not anything in particular.
Conjure bowing. So in that case, is the person's shaming you or making you feel bad?
Mhm.
You already have that shame in existence in yourself. Someone can't make you feel.
That would be a way of talking about it. It's an area in your construct of you and your story about yourself that you manage to not look at, because when you look at it, it's just too painful. You feel like you're failing or like you've done something wrong, or it's just not. So we tend to look away and distract ourselves, distraction again, into something else. And if somebody comes along and says, look what and I remember when you did this or said this, and it kind of brings up feelings in areas of your life or your past 20 years ago, where you've been pretty successful relatively of distracting yourself or covering that up if you want to use it. And somebody comes along and says that like that, and just receive it. Receive not only what they say, but receive how that's triggered and see that it's unreal. It's just dependent origination completely infected with self-centeredness. So dependent origination is totally impersonal. There are no persons. But if we personalize it, then it feels like they said this and they don't realize how hard this has been for me and they're shaming me. I feel so ashamed. The other one, of course, is the other end is the pride. Sometimes the way people deal with shame, they feel so shameful, they just start puffing up. And just, sometimes the people who promote that are all over the place on the internet. Power of positive thinking. Don't deal with the negativity. Cover it up with everything's positive, everything's good. That's not what the Dzogchen masters were talking about. They said that the most terrible, horrible thing you're looking at is perfect because it's dependently risen.
Kandra Bai, so then if you don't have any shame, if someone tried to shame you, you wouldn't necessarily feel shame?
Me or you?
Any of us? If we didn't really have shame in a reservoir inside of us?
It would vary with each person. So might be a lot of people that don't have that particular dynamic happening.
And so if somebody came along and tried to shame them, they wouldn't
Not much
necessarily.
happened. Just like if you tried to shame the Buddha about all the people that he didn't teach, about all those people down the way in this other town that you didn't help. It's all about your people. You're helping just the people in your community. How about them? They needed some of your help too, but no. You just want to be an enlightened one here in this town. Am I inventing this? Of course I am, but I'm saying it's all over the place. People will try to get some kind of a credential or power by pushing your buttons. That's what's happening in your situation. Yes?
Shui Wu bowing. So by blaming her for shaming me, I am distracting myself from looking at the places I don't want to see.
Yes, in a sense. That doesn't mean you need to go the other way and just stick your head in a smelly bucket and try to, we're not talking about this. It's a different kind of relationship to spiritual path, like beating yourself up or something. But it's very simple and very difficult. Just look at it. Whatever shows up, receive it. It may smell good, it may smell bad, it may smell neutral, may. The causes and conditions are very complicated. We tend to personalize them in order to refurbish that part of the consciousness that is a lie, that there is a solid separate person. I'm here, sitting here listening to my voice rattle away and watching my hands move. Very, very convincing. I'm here. I have body discomfort. And I have all kinds of things that I could talk about that are happening in this mind stream that are pretty damn convincing. Seems like there's somebody here. Seems like somebody's getting up and moving and can't move very fast. Seems like that. Seems like other people look better than I do and are younger and seem healthier, and they probably are physically, yes. Physically, that's a physical dynamic that's happening with me or with you. And it's true, it's relatively true, but it's ultimately not true. Who you are can't age, it can't die, it's not threatened. Realize it so that you're not concerned about anyone sitting across the room and shaming you or pointing slings and arrows or whatever. Instead, you might see, not always, there's no convention there where you have to do this, but you might just see how much trouble they're having. And you might realize that the only thing you can really do is listen to them. And you might just say, just I said something, you just shook your head like that. That might be all you can do. Sometimes if they want more, they'll say, if you just say, I see what you mean. Say, oh, you see what I mean. They'll want to go to war. They do not want peace. They do not want things to be just fine because they have their ego position and they need some kind of a challenge. They need to fight, just like the crazy people running the world right now. They want to fight. War and peace, war and peace, war and peace. You can't have one without the other. You can't make peace. Make peace won't last. The only thing that lasts as far as something you do is just don't fight. And that can be a whole lifetime of watching how you keep wanting to, it's like get revenge and stop something and start something and push on something. Some people are really, their karma's all about that. Other people are about grasping and getting and gaining. Other people are about shutting out, just doing something else so you don't have to look at this. Anyone else in here? Yes.
Everyone bowing. I want to know about when we're listening to you or listening to anybody, if you're understanding it the whole time, is that a kind of ignorance to hear everything someone's saying?
I'm not sure what your question is. Understanding it the whole time?
Or I'm bowing. I think one of your teachings is if you really hear what someone, you won't know what they said.
That's a way of talking about it, yes.
And I notice that sometimes when I'm listening to your talk, there's been like 10, 20 seconds where I don't really know what you said, but
What do I say about it? Doesn't matter. What matters is show up and listen. Because this teaching is not about the thought process. But the ego mind wants to come in and think and figure everything out and understand. This is one of the reasons we have a study group. It's not so you can all get together and agree on what Dogen said. It's so you can see there's no way you can agree on what Dogen said. There's no way you can even understand what Dogen said. It's an amazing realization, but it will help you on the path. It will help you realize your true nature. Yes.
or long bowing. So is there a similar quality of how you're instructing, listening to a talk as you do with like book study?
Yes. Just listen. Ask questions that you're asking a question based on, it's going to be your particular dynamic. You're asking questions based on your experience. You're asking questions. Milk is still trying to figure out what to ask. He's waiting for Ath to call him, which he probably will if you knew about it. So I've got one on here. Any further in here before I go to the Zoom? Thank you. Yes.
Long bowing. Is it, like with all of that being said, is it a not helpful question to try to refine what you're saying conceptually?
I don't have much in the way of don't. A little bit. I say don't do this, don't do that, don't add, don't subtract, don't divide, but that's meant to bring your attention to it. So when you try to stop doing that, you see you can't help it. You might be able to stop a little bit and get a little credential there, but you also become very aware that you're credentializing something. Then you notice something else that you have no say-so about it. It's like an impulse that you have, you cannot stop that. And so it's a little bit of humility might arise there, or just understanding that you do not have control of this. People constantly talk about control. I was lectured here a year ago, but you should get control of yourself. It's just only you just feel sad about the person who's giving you that kind of instruction, but they don't see. The only thing that's facing them, and it's going to be an incredibly powerful realization for them, is their death. But it's possible to die now. Don't wait till your body falls apart. Die now. Yes.
Kanjama, what is listening if it's not trying to understand what is being said?
That might be happening, but it's consciousness is the sky is much more important than the clouds. So the clouds may come up and be very decorative or full of this or full of that. So they take all kinds of shapes. You don't do anything with it. Just go ahead and take up space in the sky. They don't self-validate. They're just clouds. They're just forms. There's just understanding. Like Dogen teaching drop off body and mind. You see that you can't really drop off or relatively get rid of your body, and you can't really drop off or get rid of your mind. So what in the hell is Dogen pointing to there? What does he mean by that? What do you think it means? What have I said that he means?
See the attachment.
See the way you're attached to a body as somebody and attached to the mind as something or some aspect of your identity. And by saying drop it off, you can't really drop it off. On the other hand, if you see that you can't drop it off, then you stop pushing on it. And when you stop pushing on it, of mind and body. Gone. Not really gone, nothing happened. That's closer to what His Holiness the 16th Karmapa says. Nothing happens. And Dogen was just trying to encourage us to look at that by encouraging us to do something that's impossible to do, because there is no body, there is no mind, it's an illusion. Meow. That's the sound a cat makes. Want to hear the sound a dog makes? Meow.
Not separate.
Hmm?
Not separate.
Right. Anything further in here before I go to Jishin? Jishin, you have a question?
What is distracted by distraction?
Just the part of the consciousness that is wrapped up in a form we call ego or narcissism, gets distracted into this or distracted into that, getting away from what's challenging to the ego, or that part of the consciousness that is an illusion, that's unreal, that seems threatened, or seems so needy, or is not getting what it wants, or is really full of what it just got because it really deserved it. And finally, somebody recognized me and realized how important I am, or how deserving. Sometimes people even say to us, usually friends of ours or parents, well, you deserve it. You deserve deserve this. Just reinforcing the original misunderstanding that society and families and everything are always working with. Like, people think that their children belong to them. It's just not true. There are people in the 14th century that had children, and everybody's gone. They're gone, children are gone, yet for a certain length of time, they thought those people that they gave birth to were theirs. They were not. Children do not belong to you. And it works the other way. Your children you don't belong to your children. There's the situation is there that Trungpa Rinpoche talked about many years ago, that I heard that it was I could not understand that happened for decades before I finally understood what it meant, and now I can't explain it to you. But contemplating that was very helpful. And what was that slogan? The best relationship is no relationship. That doesn't mean you're dismissive and don't care about anybody. It may mean you're much more concerned about what's happening with people, because you're not looking at outcomes, you're looking at what's right in front of you, which is usually suffering. There's great suffering in the world. With ourselves, with others. Save all beings, put others before yourself. Fall before the foot of the Buddha, or before the teachings at least. Put your hands together and supplicate. Go ahead.
I have another one. Thank you. It seems to me that my mind is producing thoughts all the time, and that each thought is distracting me from whatever. Is it that ego is distracting itself continuously?
So the distraction is the credential goes to ego, but the distraction is just fear. It's so the distraction works because it covers up the fear and then protects that part of the consciousness that seemed threatened, that no longer feels threatened, because it's able to go to war with somebody, or lock somebody up, or give them a lawsuit, or punish them, or beat on their child, or their spouse for that matter. There's just all kinds of warfare going on. Or just argue or blame someone. Maybe you don't even open your mouth. You just sit back and look across the living room with somebody and you're blaming them. The only place it might even show up is on the expression in your face. And even that might not be recognizable by the person you're blaming, because you're so good at disguising. So it's not about fixing, correcting any of that. Just be aware of it. Be very, very generous. Give everything your attention. Give everything your attention. You won't care how you feel. Might feel good, you might feel bad, might feel better, might feel worse. Unreal. Doesn't mean it isn't there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything further? A lot of room for questions there. If I were in your place right now, I'd be asking questions. But you're not. It doesn't make you wrong. Yes,
Noble bowing is, I think you said, that neurosis can be a distraction, but is neurosis sometimes what we need to see on a
yes.
person's time?
Yeah, we might need to see that it's a distraction. It's
Noble
always
bowing.
just go ahead, please. You.
What isn't a distraction if thoughts arise, when thoughts arise?
Just space, just consciousness. What arises comes and goes, it's unreal. Consciousness doesn't arise, therefore it can't unarise, can't go away, it can't disappear, it doesn't show up. You can't find consciousness. The only way that we know there is space is things move around in it. That's how we know there's space. But the space itself isn't anything, but it's everywhere, isn't it? It's in rooms, it's in the sky, it's between two fence posts, between our eyes. Some people, it's between our ears. No?
Conjure bowing. So if something shows up and we don't add to it, is that a distraction? We receive whatever shows up, don't attach to it or add to it, we just.
It's a distraction if you're, may I? It's a distraction if you're doing anything with it, getting a credential for it. Just receiving. Have you ever had somebody tell you, I'm just receiving?
I know I've said that to you.
Yeah. Haven't I said it to you too? I'd like to hear the time I said that. If you are receiving, you won't look for any credential. You won't tell anybody you're receiving. Because if you really are receiving, you won't feel like you're doing anything. It's just it's a kind of openness that doesn't have an opener behind it. I'm so open, I'm so aware. Some of the people who have come here in past years have, in interviews, have talked to me about how aware they are.
Shui Wu Baoing, I feel like there's a connection between meditating on impermanence and distraction, but I can't figure out what the link is. Do you have feedback for me about?
What was that again? Meditation on impermanence and
I guess working with distraction or noticing your distraction, how
yes.
can that cause and affect each other?
What are the two again? Distraction, what was the other one?
Meditation on impermanence.
Okay, something that doesn't last, and then distraction.
Yeah, I feel like it feels like it can help.
Okay. If you watch things that come and go, that's just the illusion. But the distraction part of it is fixation. It's finding a part of the illusion and that actually is just as impermanent as anything else and grabbing onto it. And it could be playing golf. And again, not against golf, I'm not against any kind of entertainment or distraction. It's about being aware of it, not about never playing golf again or never jogging or never. It's not about controlling anything. It's about just being aware. And your particular dynamic or mine or anyone else's may be something I do a lot of is watch movies. I love movies. Somebody wants to say to me, oh, you're addicted to movies. Well, maybe. But you could also say, I'm in here every day, just about. Am I addicted to this? What kind of payoff is in there? You guys are all admiring me. Is that somehow?
We give you lots of suffering.
What?
We give you lots of suffering.
That's right, and I don't have to suffer myself, 'cause I'm busy dealing with y'all. It's a good word, it is a good area to look at the impermanence that you understand, but you understand is nothing lasts. The things that you really love, attached to you, they're gone. The things you really dislike and are in your face won't last. Nothing lasts, but the distraction tends to work as something that we can continue to reinforce and reinforce. You could say meditation, sitting down, holding still, looking at the wall, is a distraction initially. We're distracting ourselves from the distress in our life. Quite often, a person can spend several years feeling better meditating. Finally learn to meditate. I feel so much better now that I'm mindful. And there are even practices in mindfulness that tend to create, my understanding, artificiality that looks like stability and looks like calmness, looks like peace, looks like. But when I say but, I'm just saying you might have a few other things that you might have to look at that you might be distracting yourself from, so you can just be a nice mindful meditator. If I see someone like that and I have their permission, I might come up and bark at them. Not to be mean, but just to help them look at what they're ignoring. I'm not near as outlandish as I could be. Might look like it, but I'm not. I'm insane. Lucky guys. Jisheen.
Darling, maybe my question was close to what Shreya just asked about permanence and distraction. I'm wondering if ego is doing absolutely everything not to allow us to see impermanence or to see emptiness and distracts us in every possible way. Well,
I'm sorry, I'm not tracking what it is you're asking about. I've listened to some of it. I couldn't quite track what it. Can you give me just a simple, straightforward question and let me fill in all the blanks? I know about a lot of the stuff you're talking about. Just what do you want to know? And I'll respond.
does ego do everything to distract us from seeing impermanence or emptiness?
Yes. Good one. Good question. Yes, it does. Ego, self-centered, dynamic that we think there's somebody, something, somebody, our descriptions of ourselves, our history, our biography, our autobiography, anything, judgment, evaluation, success, failure, all of that comes together and distracts from the truth. And what is the truth? There is no one. There's no one and there's no other. And those two are not separate. And it's called consciousness only. No personhood anymore. Quite a disappointment. There's probably quite a bunch of them as you go on. Thank you so much. Are we going to say something?
We will dedicate the meeting.
Okay. Let's do that then.